Yes, yes, people. What's going on? Welcome back to Saeed TV, and we are live for Sunday's edition of the MUFC Unfiltered podcast. And with my brothers from another mother's, but we're here the day after the FA Cup defeat yesterday. But listen, we've got a lot to dissect today. It might be therapy for people, but we're going to give you our opinion. Please do smash the like button straight away right now. Before you do anything, bottom right-hand corner, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the guys' channel. Link is in the description. And yeah, let's get into it, man. Double A, you just got back today from London. You went on the train. I think you stayed behind, you know what I mean, and whatnot. Bit of sightseeing and whatnot. But how are you, mate? How are you feeling?
I'm good. As long as you can hear me, you can see me, and everything's fine, isn't it, I guess?
Yeah.
Mate, I'm okay. I mean, yeah, I'm tired is an understatement. I think 24 hours in London is enough for me. I need to run back to Manchester and be back up where everything is priced normally. That's the first thing you think of, isn't it? Just where everything's priced at a normal level. You know what I'm saying? Big up to you, Saeed. Big up Florence. Big up James. Big up the chat as always. It's always nice to be here. So, yeah, I'm sure we've got a lot to talk about. It was not the best day yesterday, was it?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Flawless is chilling on the Scooby snacks.
I'm actually eating chips, but that's funny still. Big up Alien Tenor. That's funny. That is funny.
Double A, man. Double A's always got his little twist on it, man. But big up to you, Flawless, as always. We got James back. You get me? It's been a while, mate, but we've seen each other yesterday. You know what I mean? Just munching on the chicken outside Wembley and that. James is a madman, honestly. He went to Co-op here. I said to him, what are you going to have with that chicken? He had the little cooked meat, and he said, now I'm trying to eat it like it's on its own. So what are you telling me anyway, man, James? You good?
Man's got to have his protein, man. Man's got to have his protein at the end of the day. It doesn't matter whether you're in London or not, does it? Yeah, I'm all good, mate. It's good to be back. I've got the hardest job on YouTube, which is replacing Andy Tate in it. But one man gone, another man kin. So yeah, let's get into yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's get into it, man. I mean, Flawless, let's start off with you, man. We didn't get battered, which is a positive. You know what I mean? But I always like to think that that's a bit sad when you're looking at what we are as Man United. It is very, very sad. But Flawless, man, how do you feel the day after? Has it sunk in for you? Is it just kind of what's emotions today looking back on yesterday?
Still just disappointment. And when I say disappointment, not in terms of the result, because obviously we were underdogs going into the game. When I say disappointment, because before the game, I was like, don't go out there, and shout out to my guy Eddie, who also said this. Don't go out there and be embarrassed. And it was embarrassing in regards to the goals we gave up. Like if City would have just cut us apart and beat us 3-4, 5-6-0, you'll be annoyed, but you hold your hands up and say they're a quality side. Look at them 2 goals that we gave up. And look at the times in which we gave them 2 goals up as well. And there's just multiple mistakes within both of them. Like the ball going long, whoever lost out the first header, I can't remember. Lindelof with the second header. Why Gundogan's by himself 14 seconds into the game, like behind all 3 central midfielders, I don't know. And then the second goal is the same. Gundogan on the edge of the box by himself. Does somebody not spot that and go, yeah, Gundogan's on the edge. And then he shins it on his weaker foot and it goes in to the point where I thought it took a deflection. It seemed like the goal went in slow motion, and it's a missed opportunity, because I also stated before the game, obviously for United to win this, City have to have an off day and we have to have an on day. And City had an off day because they weren't at their best. Yeah, they were not at their scintillating best. And we just gave them the game. There's a way to lose. You know what I'm saying? All great sides lost. Great Manchester United sides in the past lost. Losses will happen. Like, I have no issue with that, but it's the manner in which we did. But again, I've said it on this show before, and I've said it on other shows as well in regards to these players just not being good enough and not up to it. What more motivation do you need to go and pick up an FA Cup against Manchester City? Like, I don't know what more needs to be done. And like going forward, minus Garnacho, I don't remember us doing anything at all. Like Garnacho, like he was the bright spark. Like everybody else was pretty much anonymous, and that's what makes it worse. Like I said, like I started off talking about City not being at their best defensively. We were actually all right. We actually kept like Haaland pretty quiet. De Bruyne was pretty quiet. Bernardo Silva, Grealish. It's not like any of them were like 8, 9, 10 out of 10. So that's what makes it worse. It's just disappointment and just I've been tired of these players. Before this, it didn't take us to put in a performance like this in a game like this of this magnitude for me to go, oh, such and such isn't good enough, or this player is not good enough, or that player is not good enough. I want the vast majority gone anyway. We need vast improvements. We know this, and again, disappointment. I'm still disappointed about it now in the manner in which we went out. Like we just rolled over. You know what I'm saying? Like they just rolled. Like put it this way: in the Champions League final when they play Inter Milan will give City a better game. Whether they win or lose,
I know that already.
I think
They'll have
Inter Milan will
threat.
give them a better game. Like even to the point where it's like, all right, just get the ball wide and get it in the mixer. And when we did that towards the end, McTominay almost scored. He headed it off Rodri, and then it went over the bar. Like I said, Garnacho, but it's about impact and like just sheer application. And we just lacked it. So yeah, man, it's just these players gotta go.
Yeah, absolutely.
These players gotta go.
Big up City Extra in here. It's probably Hugh taking a piss out of us.
I
didn't see you yesterday, but hope you're well, Hughie. Lindelof of Varane played good. The attack with it. Yeah, there's a lot to discuss on that one, but let's just talk about the first goal. Double A. I barely got time to even. Like I was with Alfie. Big up Alfie. Adam's son. Yeah, we're just looking around. I was looking at the atmosphere. You know, I was looking at the atmosphere, thinking, right, I'm up for it. And next thing you know, I see Lindelof's lost the header, and then Gundogan just volley it. And David Hayes flat-footed. He's gone. He's beaten. I think positionally he could do a bit better because I feel like. But then again, I'm not going to put too much onto it. I just think that for me, Lindelof wins his header, or we were better positioned in that way. It doesn't happen that goal, but the start was bad, wasn't it? Like it's just I thought it was going to be 3 or 4-0 after that point, man. I can't lie to you.
I've not even sat down, bro. I've not even sat down in the thing with me. I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on? Like. The most important thing, and a lot of United fans were saying it before the game, it was like, make sure you're in the game after for the first 30 minutes. We weren't even in the game after the first minute. What? Bro, the switch off is mad. And I think, and it's strange to say considering how many, I say big players, but experienced players we have in this team. I mean, they were like a deer in the headlights. The occasion got to him. They froze, and they never recovered from that first 13 seconds. And Flawless is absolutely right in everything he's saying. Like, you know, how professional footballers can switch off at those key moments like that for both of their goals is criminal. And I don't want to get too over emotional because of it's City in the FA Cup final, because what they now can go on and do. It seems like the end of the world. It seems like our world is falling apart. But let's not take away from what has been a good season for Manchester United. It's just, I wish
it's clouded, isn't it? It's clouded, you mean?
It's not clouded. It's put a black mark. It's tarnished a little bit. It's tarnished a little bit, but not because of the result. Because, like Flawless said again, we were the underdogs, and they didn't tear us apart, and we did keep a lot of their better players quiet. It's just that ours didn't turn up. That's the worst thing. Like you say, if you go toe-to-toe with them and they beat you 5-6-0, that's absolutely fine. But when they're not playing well and you don't even show up, and, you know, these videos of the players not, you know, the one that Rashford doesn't jump for a header, but then, you know, he does go and win the ball back. You know, it's taking key moments and making it look a lot worse than it actually is. But he did do it a few times in the game. That's just the one that's getting shown on social media. Players not running, and they were scared. They were scared to play their own game. And I think essentially the occasion got to him, and he just went missing at the worst possible time. When I said it on this show last week, for me, all Ten Hag had to say, you know, similar to Fergie in '99, is don't you allow them to be the team that goes on and gets a treble. Don't let them take over our greatest.
We had it all in our hands. You know, exactly. Part of the fun. We had it all in our hands.
Don't be that team.
We didn't do it,
and they couldn't do nothing against it. So, listen, it's all right saying oh, force her into and all that, but
I've not got the energy.
We should have done it. We should have done it ourselves.
For me, I've not got the energy to kind of do all of that. I'm shameless. I can do it, but even I've not got the energy to kind of do that. But James, we got the second goal. We got the equalizer penalty. It came out of nowhere when I thought for me he wasn't going to give it, and then all of a sudden he gets a signal penalty, James. And then you're thinking, right, you're in for it. Second half, new approach, and then That goal, man. Who do you blame in that situation there? Because a lot of people blaming David Hale, which I think for me, he should do better with it. He's got jelly hands there, but for me, the set piece, I don't know what we're doing. It seems to be a little bit of a recurring theme where we don't pick up anyone on the edge of the box for some reason. But who do you blame in that goal for Gundogan again?
It's a tough one, mate, isn't it? I think Varane could do better at blocking the shot. I think De Gea could do better at saving the shot. And I think whoever is supposed to be marking it, whether it's Wan-Bissaka or whether it's Eriksen, could do a better job at closing him down. And the ball from De Bruyne, the thing that annoyed me was it was clipped in. Like, it wasn't like, remember Scholes scored that volley ages ago and it was drilled in from the corner. Like, we had time to get to Gundogan. There wasn't anyone within 5-6 yards of him, mate. And considering, like, the occasion and how big it was, like, you can't understate how big that game was. Like, I'd love to come on here and pretend that it didn't really matter and it was just another game and all this, but the fact is it wasn't. Like, David Beckham was in the crowd, Sir Alex Ferguson was in the crowd, Dwight York was in the crowd, Andy Cole was in the crowd, all these treble winners, Jaap Stam was in the crowd. All these people that won the treble were in that ground. The treble was a monumentous point in history for Manchester United, and it's one of the greatest teams to ever play in the Premier League. And you are defending that honour as a Manchester United player. And Flawless said it before, there are ways to lose football matches, right? If you go toe-to-toe with them, and listen, they are a fantastic team. They're arguably, probably inarguably the best team in the world. They're a fantastic football team.
Yeah.
So they can beat you. That's not an issue. And if they beat you through quality, then I'll accept that all day.
Course, yeah.
But the thing is, like, we came out the game and we were chatting afterwards and we were saying, we need 5 starters, 4 starters, 5 starters, 6 starters to improve the quality of the team. The problem is we didn't lose because of quality, mate. We lost because of application, because people cannot do their jobs. They can't track runners. They can't jump up for headers. They can't follow their man. Like, yeah, there was a lack of quality up front, so we didn't offer a danger. But those 2 goals are mistakes. They're application mistakes, which is unforgivable at that level, I'm afraid. It really is. So you're asking who to blame individually, and I did list a few for that goal. But let's face it, mate, I wanted 11 players to lead everything on that pitch. And if you can name me one that did, then I'd be shocked, mate. You may name Garnacho, but I think he could do better in a couple of minutes. But literally, I don't think one of our players left everything on that pitch, considering how much the game meant to us as fans.
Abdishek says here, Sancho flopping again. Even Ashley Young was better than Sancho when he played for us. Get him out of our team. Most overhyped winger in the world. We'll discuss it, mate. We'll discuss it. Absolutely, we'll discuss it. We got a super chat here. Just bear with me, man. I'm trying to, do this new mouse thing, man. Soleil says here, I'm with you, Saeed. I don't even have the energy to be shameless. I'm in deep pain, and sadly, City deserve to achieve. I think listen, on the balance of the whole play, they had the better quality, and quality counts at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, there's no 2 ways of looking at it. Quality counts at the end of the day. We didn't have that quality. I think you're right in some aspects, James, in terms of the application, but you know what it is with me though. There's trying and there's just being good enough, and I don't think half of these lot are good enough. Let's just be honest. Like, I think we're mincing it too much. Like, the quality ain't it. If you want to go and beat City, you have to beat City on a normal day when they're good. You have to be superior on every level. But to beat them on an off day, we couldn't even do that, and that's where my situation comes in.
That's the most worrying thing about it, is the fact that they had an off day. And I wouldn't go as far. It's too much to say they were there for the taking, but they were.
No, they weren't there for the taking. No, I don't believe that. They weren't there for
the taking. No, that's why I'm saying that's too far. I wouldn't say that. But what I would say is they're beatable. 110% they're beatable. Like, that performance they put in, take away who you think the better team is. We're just taking this game in isolation. How many of them Manchester City players played 8 out of 10 or above? Like I said, we kept the majority, all their attacking players pretty much quiet. Take Gundogan's 2 goals out of it. De Bruyne got taken off. Haaland had a couple chances. Grealish and Bernardo Silva were ineffective just in this game alone. Even Foden, like, how many chances? Yeah, they created a little bit more because we're chasing the game. But overall, the point I'm making is we're not going to look at that game and go, City were phenomenal.
No,
that's the biggest. That's my biggest issue with it. 110. Apply yourself. I used the word. James used it as well. Application. I was like, and we didn't, and that's not just running around and being energetic. That's just doing your job.
But we know that this team lacks in that. They have done. You look at last season, and it's the same players again, over and over again, making the same mistakes. Oh, but we know the deficiencies in this squad, and the players lack that real top quality for me to be consistent top performers in a team that wants to challenge for the biggest honours. Like we see that lot can do it with 2 11s. We don't have that quality at all. There's 3 or 4 players you could say in that team that I think a lot of us, if it was forced down to it, would keep. The rest, I think we would ship off and get rid of. And that's, goes all the way back to Manic. This team needs open heart surgery. It's proven to be right, isn't it? We know that. But regardless of that, we have seen them pull up trees this season on occasion, which led us to be a bit confident. You think of Barcelona away, even Barcelona at home. We've beat City when they played better than they did yesterday. There's been moments from this team this season that would lead us to believe, regardless of how well they're doing, coming off the back of a title, that Manchester United could get a result. Yes, it would be up against it. Yes, it's going to be hard. But, fans were confident yesterday, speaking to a lot of them.
Yeah.
The players had to be confident. The players weren't.
Yeah, because we had played City. The last game we played City, we beat them. And to add on to your point as well, Double A, the home form. The home form lets us know. We had the second best home record in the Premier League. I think it was only bettered by Manchester City. I think we lost only once at home, which is the opening day, and then there was a couple of draws in there, and the rest were wins, and we beat everybody. We beat City at home, we beat Liverpool at home, we beat Arsenal at home. Like, we beat all the top sides, I think, bar Newcastle pretty much at home. So it's kind of like, all right, you can do it on off occasions, but like I said, we didn't need this final. We've spoken in depth on this show about the quality. The
just further emphasizes the point, though. It's on a big stage. It further emphasizes the point. Yes. Big up David G here. Thanks for the super chat. Takeover needs to happen now because we need technical players. I'm tired of playing City, Liverpool, Arsenal, etc. I'm playing on the counter, dominate the ball. Does it bother you, anyone? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, it is bothering me a little bit. The fact that we are playing a lot on the transition, a lot of counter attack. Obviously, I'm not putting that down to Ten Hag's persistence with it because I feel like he has to work with what he's got. But next season, I'm not gonna lie to you, I want to see us play with a bit more conviction in the middle of the park in terms of when we have that ball, we're not just playing hot potato. Like yesterday, the amount of times we were just giving the ball away to them, and they were giving it back, by the way, equally as bad. I think De Bruyne gave the ball some of the times, but I just feel like in that middle part, I just don't look at anyone. I think, right, are you going to control possession? Are you going to keep possession? Are you going to, is anyone going to hold the ball? And I think sometimes you can play that pragmatic way, but when you have possession, just be able to control it a little bit more and take pride in having to keep the ball rather than always like looking to just hoof that ball up like Bruno did a couple of times yesterday. Like you're just giving pressure back to the on us.
Yeah,
like what you doing? Even David Hayes is another example as well. The guy's just hoofing it. What are you hoofing it for? Get it on the ground and let's play.
He kept doing it when Casemiro was asking for the ball.
Varane had to go up to him and say, "Listen, calm down." I don't know if you see that on the camera.
No, I didn't see that. Is that what Varane did?
Varane said to him, "Relax, play it on the floor." But then again, what did he do? Because he gets a bit agitated, and obviously he's not the best at kicking the ball. He then has to just play it long, and I'm like, it does raise the question.
Yeah, it's different. It's different styles for different fights. I don't have no problem playing on a counter attack if playing on a counter attack is what is needed. Like for instance, when we played City at home, we played on a counter attack. If a team is better than you, playing against them on a counter attack makes the most sense. But for me, it's like you need to have different styles for different fights as well. But I don't want counter attack to be the first option. But let's not get mistaken. Sir Alex Ferguson had done that countless times. When we played Arsenal, people, for those that don't know, on a regular basis, the game plan, even when they came to Old Trafford, was give them the ball, let them have 60-65% possession of the ball, and then hit them on the break. And it worked. That was always the game plan when we played Arsenal when they were better. But for the vast majority of the time, it was get on the ball and be dominant. So to me, it's a mix. You got to look at the opposition.
Don't get me wrong. There has to be a balance. There has to be. My thing is, I feel like for me, even at home though. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, man. Chelsea played us off the park. I don't know what we were playing. I know we scored the goals and we were better, but I feel like for me, Chelsea were the better footballing team in terms of keeping the ball, keeping in a possession, and do. I want us to kind of make sure that we're not just getting dominated at home and then relying on the counter attack. I just want to have the balance, and I think that will come with better midfielders. That's why I'm looking at this summer. We can get midfielders in like Caicedo and say, right, when we do have the ball, we've got someone in possession who's very, very tidy on the ball. That's just the only thing that I'm looking at. I don't know if you guys disagree, if that's what you kind of want. I don't know. Let me just get this super chat here before I get your opinion. Prem Project says here, Flora said it before the game, we go into a gunfight with a knife. The 3 subs brought on cost total of 200 grand. City bench is a joke. And there's another one here from David Smith. I appreciate it, mate. He goes, Eric Ten Hag worries me. He's not the coach I thought he was. Playing style is not consistent with his philosophy, and the players we are linked with makes me more worried. James, do you want to mention anything? I know you want to say something there. Do you want to mention anything just in terms of what we're talking about, style of playing, possession? What's approachable to you?
Almost anything, to be honest, mate. Like Flawless said, I think people get wrapped up in this modern day way of playing, and there's only one way to win a football game. Sport is fantastic, right? Because sport is the one thing in the world where you look at it at the end of the game and it's very definitive. It's one team has a certain score, another team has a certain score, and if one is higher than the other, they win. And it's regardless of playing style, it's regardless of possession, it's regardless of shots on target, regardless of XG, regardless of all that. We may all have preferences in what we want to see, and that is okay. So, like, there will be Liverpool fans that, like, love the fact that they were playing fantastic football under Klopp first season and were happy that they finished 5th, 6th, whatever, because they were playing fantastic football. They didn't mind they were conceding goals. But then there will be people that will be annoyed with that. And so it really is different strokes for different folks. I just want us to win football games. Now, the super chat before that said he was worried about Ten Hag, I'm not really quite sure what you expect him to do with the players he's got. Like, you can look at the system and say 70% possession, and that's the way that he wants to play. But you very much have to use the tools at your disposal. If you've got a midfield three of Fred, Eriksen, and Casemiro, then you're not going to dominate possession of the ball. I'm sorry, you're not. Casemiro is arguably the best on the ball out of those three because Eriksen's dropped off a bit, and he's not excellent on the ball. So you're asking him to do a job that he's not really built for. He's not done it the majority of his career. He's not been asked to do that role. So, like, I do think it's a fine balance, though, because I think United fans tend to think that we want to see this controlling possession style of play. I'll rewind you all back to Louis van Gaal, right? Louis van Gaal played, I won't say fantastic football. He played possession-based football very much. About 11 games in a row at Old Trafford, it was 0-0 at half-time, and fans were booing players off the pitch. No, I said this to someone the other day, and they agreed with me, actually. I said that United fans, and it's a wild, wild take, so I'll probably get shut down for it, but United fans would not put up with Pep Guardiola football at Old Trafford. They would not, because for 70 minutes of the game, it is boring as hell, mate. It is side-to-side recycled possession along the back, and you can say, yeah, there's intent, but for a lot of the game, there isn't, and some City fans feel like that. And if you try and play that style with our players that we have at the moment, with no cutting edge up front, it will be ridiculously boring. When we go to Old Trafford at the moment and you see Lindelof passing across the back, or you see Maguire, or you see Varane passing across the back and recycling it with the goalkeeper, you get really annoyed. The crowd get really annoyed. They get agitated and they shout. And it's like City do that a lot. And yes, they're working openings and stuff, but a lot of fans don't see the difference. It's like that possession-based football can be really, really boring. So I think you've got to be careful what you wish for. I think it's different strokes for different folks. Like you mentioned, Sir Alex Ferguson played counter-attack, especially against teams like Arsenal. You go back to Champions League, that Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez, like little link-up in the blue kit, like raced on the counter, one of the best goals you'll see. Like, that was typical of Sir Alex Ferguson. Like, yes, in some games at home, we went out, team thought was like, lads, it's Tottenham, let's go dominate them. It's easy. Let's go walk them off the park. Other games, it's like, these respect the opposition. Like yesterday, City were a better team. If Ten Hag would have gone toe-to-toe with City, we'd all be here like, it's pretty daft. Like, they are going to play you off the park. So you need to be adaptable as a coach. And I think Ten Hag is, and I think that super chat that's saying that, you know, you're worried about signings and you're worried about this. It's like, I guess you're talking about the Mason Mount thing. It's like, I'm sure we'll get onto that. But Mason Mount, I think Mason Mount is like, I think unfortunately, he's a victim of a Chelsea team that have been really poor this season. It's really hard to judge Chelsea players at the moment because apparently City want Kovacic and we want Mount. And there are other players that are better than they've played at Chelsea this season. Chelsea, for some reason, it's just this weird bubble where everything's gone wrong. And there are players that are quality in that team that haven't shown it this season for one reason or another. So I do think that chat's a little bit harsh on Eric Ten Hag, to be honest. I think he's done a fantastic job. Like, I was asked for a grade for him for this season, and I said, you know what? I said I'd give him a B+. I said I would have given him an A+ if he'd have won the cup final yesterday. I said the way he dealt with Ronaldo, dealt with Sancho, dealt with Garnacho, who had attitude problems earlier on in the season, the way he's got us through to quarter-final, final, and third in the league with no squad. It's like, can you ask for much more of the guy when he's going from last season, where statistically we were the worst ever Manchester United Premier League team with 58 points, and he's done all that this season. The guy's a magician. like absolute magician.
Yeah. Big up to everybody here. There's 1.2K in here. Make sure you guys are liking the video, man. I appreciate the super chat. You know the thing is with Guardiola football, I think people assume it's boring, but I think with Man United though, with how successful it's been, I think for me, everyone has to create their own identity. I wouldn't find it as boring because I feel like for me, I know what I'm getting with this philosophy. For me, he's one of the best tacticians we've seen in the Premier League. Is an amazing manager. I don't know. I think for me, what I'm seeing right now, listen, I'm just kind of basing it on the players we've got. You know, I'm not judging Ten Hag's football and style as boring. I'm not, because I have to see the evolution of the next season. Next season, if we're still seeing the same situation, maybe then people can say, right, well, this is not what we kind of expected here, and I don't really like this. You have to buy players. My question is though, is the Mason Mount, when he comes in here, will it change it a lot, or do you think there's more deficiencies in that midfield? Because I don't know what you think of the midfield double A. Because I think for me, Fred is probably gone in the summer. I think for me, Donny's gone, McTominay's gone. I think for me, Eriksen needs to go. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm ready to be ruthless, man. I don't think for me he's good enough, even as a squad player. I'll be honest with you, yeah. Because of how mobile he is right now, I don't think he can do what we need to do anymore. I just think I've seen a lot of deficiencies right now. Is that I'd move him on in the summer. That's just my own opinion. Again, and that's subjected to what other people think. But I've just named you 4 midfielders that possibly could leave in the summer.
I think I need a glass of your optimism juice, mate. Because I don't see United getting rid of that many players. I'll be honest with you. I just can't.
You don't think Fred could leave with 1 year left?
Fred.
McTominay.
Yeah, but not all 3, mate. No way to get in.
But the thing is, Donny's not playing. Donny, nobody sees Donny as a first team player.
No,
I think Donny will be moved on. I can see that happening. I can see Donny being moved on.
There's no way getting rid of 4 midfielders because we're not going to bring 4 in. There's no way that's going to happen. So you're stuck with at least, mate. I would say, of course it's not. But that's where we find ourselves as a club, mate. It's like, everyone's talking about Ten Hag this, Ten Hag that, and style of play and everything, bro. Going against City yesterday, he turned up in his polo against a Ferrari in a race. He's never going to win. Like, this is the problem. You're not going to get out of that polo what you're expecting when you go up against a Ferrari, mate. The parts aren't there. What we need now is to get it back in the garage and get it souped up. But listen, he's clearly got a plan for Mason Mount because he's been after him since the Ajax days. He likes the kid, so he obviously knows that he can bring something to his team and style of play, hopefully moving forward next season. But I think I know what you're saying about Eriksen, and I think Eriksen after the injury hasn't looked the same player at all. He's fell off a cliff, honestly. But
I'm not gonna lie to you. I've seen
the first half of the season before that injury, mate. He was very, very good, and we waxed lyrical on here about certain performances that he had. I can't see him going. I think he will stick around. The problem is he's been overplayed, and we can't have that next season. He can't be playing week in, week out, especially not number 8, because he clearly cannot play that role at all. I would keep Fred. I think Fred again is another decent squad player to have. Again, can't be playing too many games. Donny should probably go. McTominay, I would get rid of. It's just, mate, we're getting. I'm no massive fan of Mason Mount, and I don't think for me he's really what we need in the midfield.
Yeah,
I don't think he's that type of player or the profile that we need. And then the other one's Rabiot, and I'm like, not. And it's such a it's a cliche to do this, but you have to ask yourself, did he get in City's team? And that's the benchmark. We have to ask.
That's the benchmark. That's what I want to say.
It's not about Liverpool. It's not about Arsenal. It's not about Chelsea. It's not about any other team now. It's about Manchester City. So you have to ask yourself, will this player even push to get on City's bench? Never mind getting in the starting 11. Would they push to be on City's bench? Rabiot, for me, doesn't get a sniff. Mason Mount, I don't think he does. I think they've got the better one in Foden. So, again, and they could come in and smash it. And you have to wait and see. Do you know what I'm saying? It's one of them when they sign a player. It's just, I kind of want to be excited when I hear that we're linked with a player. Both of them names, all right, I just scroll past. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not something that's getting me excited. Rice, I think, would be a great signing. Him alongside Casemiro would be great to see him play a little bit further forward. Rice, Caicedo is obviously the big one, and yeah, it's worrying because where's the money and where's the ambition from everyone?
Super chat here. The transfer will start. Big up to Onyeka says the transfer will start when. Sorry, the transfer we will start with the ownership. Absolutely, that will probably pick up maybe in the next couple of weeks. But I'm not gonna lie, I've got this theory that they actually are staying, man. I don't know, man. If there's something going on with transfers at the minute right now, and you know, what I mean, we're hearing things. I don't know. But David G says City want Kovacic and we want Mount. How do you pick? I'm gonna talk about the situation about the goalkeeper, and I don't know if Double A, maybe your opinions have changed. But the Telegraph were reporting something today about maybe I'm gonna bring it up here. About there are no plans at present for Man United to spend significant money on a goalkeeper. Obviously, that's the Telegraph reporting that. We don't know what the ins and outs of the situation is. Yeah, but we have to talk about David Hay yesterday, man. I think for me, for the first 20 minutes, man, he was playing against us, man. I can't lie to you. He was playing against us. I don't know what team he was playing for, but he weren't definitely Man United, mate. Double A, I want to ask you, though, do you still believe we should keep David Gea? Be honest, like, I understand it. He's been there for this season. But even me, as the biggest David Gea supporter, I've been cooked on it. I've been vilified. I've been absolutely for backing David Gea. But I think for me, it's so glaring to see that he's becoming a liability. He is.
I'll hold my hands up. I've flip-flopped massively on this. And look, people in the comments already know. Don't let
No, forget the comments. I'm asking you.
Double A. No. You have, the thing is that don't do yourself a disservice. You haven't flip-flopped. You've taken on new information. That's what it is. Like, you've taken on a new information over a significant period of time to go, all right, I called this wrong. Like, same way if a player was playing badly and then performed well over a number of months, you'd be wrong to be like, nah, he's not got better. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, go on, carry on.
Absolutely. And you know, we've spoke about the improvement we've seen. Ten Hag has brought a little bit more out of him, but the deficiencies are still glaring obvious. And it's the mistakes that are creeping in more now than ever, I think. You know, you think back to Sevilla and that game, and man, it's just not. You didn't expect him to be. He never used to do this. He was solid consistently, David De Gea, and that was the one thing about him that we love so much, was that consistency. I think, you know, it's no mean feat to get the clean sheet award. He has to be, you know, congratulated for that. Also, the defense as well on top of that. The big indicator for me, though, and something that was really glaringly obvious yesterday, that now has kind of swayed me over to the fact, not that he should go, but that we need a more reliable keeper to play the way, not only that Ten Hag wants to play, but also the way the game is being played, especially in the Premier League, was the fact that Ortega was embarrassing him. Ortega is the number 2 keeper for City, and he was levels above him.
You know, just to hold you on there, I think, was it Lewis from C Extra? He said to me that, you know, Ortega isn't great with his feet. I tell you what, man, if that's not bad with your feet,
I take over the
hair then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, it was mad to watch, and you saw how comfortable the defense. They don't play with him all the time, but you could see how comfortable their centre backs were, knowing when he had the ball, that he was comfortable to play out. We're terrified when De Gea's got that ball. We're absolutely terrified, and it's crept in more and more as the seasons wore on. And I said I think before the contract negotiations were coming out, and it's looking like he's gonna sign, that I think for the good of him and the club and the fan base, because of how toxic it was
very
becoming,
toxic.
It would probably best for him to go. I just can't see that happening. Again, it's a money situation. These rumours we're going to spend over 200 million this summer, depending on the owner situation. But who are you going to buy? What keeper are you going to go and buy that can come in? You know, Costa, but that's 70 mil. And then people talk about relying on selling players. But United can't sell players anyway. They can't, not for good prices and not for decent prices. I mean, we saw Dan James for a massive profit, but I mean, that's just an anomaly, isn't it? But yeah, I think I'm definitely on the side of okay, not that he should go if he was to stay and be number 2 next season, but he's not going to sign a contract for 200 grand a week and stay as number 2, is he? So I can honestly, hand on heart, I think we should replace. I think he'll be number 1 next season.
Yeah.
I'll just be happy.
Yeah. Onyeka says, what's worse is David De Gea's weakness shows in big games. I mean, flawless. You know what's the maddest thing about it is obviously, Ten Hag is keeping his mouth quiet. He's not going to kind of scrutinize him before the media. I understand that. That's fair enough.
That makes sense. Yeah.
How crucial is it though that he does change the sticks? Because it is. Yeah, I just know the fan base will turn on him, and for me, that's why it's kind of like key now, just to kind of get the fans on board even more so now. Right, I've got a new keeper. He's my main man, because I feel like you're then. What's the word I'm looking for? Compromising your philosophy and what you really want to do, just so because maybe David De Gea is a good guy or something like that, or I don't know. But how crucial is it for you this summer we get a new keeper, whether it's number 1 or like I said to you, David De Gea stays in as number 2.
I've been saying this for the longest. Extremely crucial. I think it was it the show after we lost to West Ham? I think it was, and me and you and he was a topic of conversation then because of the goal that he had let in. It's extremely crucial because it's down the spine of your team, number 1. Number 2, not only is it from a defensive standpoint, it's also from what you might have been talking about just now, offensively as well, in terms of starting out attacks. Like goalkeepers are like, this isn't the 90s. This isn't the early 2000s where it's much more defensive and your goalkeeper doesn't really have to be. It's now where it was just a bonus. It used to be a bonus with your goalkeeper being good at distributing. Now it's a necessity. You have to be. Same with fullbacks. It's the exact same thing. And it's key. And if Ten Hag goes with De Gea starting as our starting number 1 goalkeeper, I'm like, okay, not only if it hinders us, do we obviously criticize De Gea, I also have to look at the manager. Because you've now had a full season to see this. I can clearly see De Gea is not good enough. I don't know how many more times and how many more games and mistakes he needs to make. And I'm not even talking about just letting in goals. I'm not even talking about distributing. I'm talking about like just sweeper keeping, coming for corners, coming for crosses, being more commanding, more communication, etc., etc. You might mention it in the final in terms of Varane talking to him, Casemiro talking to him, and things like that. So I'm really looking at the manager if he consists with De Gea. Because whether you're trying to do the possession-based thing or whether you're going the more pace and power route, which I have no issues with, by the way, just onto the philosophy thing, I don't have no issue with. Just go and get the best in class with whichever one you're doing. And that's not Mason Mount. That's my biggest issue with that. People have said a lot of the times, I've had an issue with us not playing possession-based football. Don't really care. If you're going to go with the pace and power that Jurgen Klopp route, go and get better than Mason Mount. Because why are we signing Chelsea's cast-offs? He don't start for them, and they finished 12th. So why is he coming here to start for us? Bear in mind, I don't think he improves our first 11, but that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, in regards to David De Gea, it's time to move on. How many more mistakes? How many more times does he need to cost us before we go? Yeah, he's not, and he's not the only one. Don't get him mistaken.
Yeah, he's not the only one.
He's not the only one, but if he's down the spine of the team. So to me, he must be moved on. That's just me. That's my opinion.
Abdi Sheikh says here, everyone should be Ten Hag out if De Gea is starting next season. I know I will be. Pep remove Hart quickly. David De Gea needs to go ASAP. Get in Costa. I mean, James obviously is getting around.
Sorry to cut you off. That's harsh because a manager does something you disagree with. I can't, I understand being unhappy with a manager's decision, but turning Ten Hag out to me is too far. Because Sir Alex Ferguson did things I disagree with. And I never was fair me out.
I think it is a bit harsh, but I think maybe the better choice of word is you lose faith in the manager.
That's fair.
You kind of lose. I think that's a fairer word to use. Ten Hag out, honestly, again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
It's your opinion. David De Gea is number 1, but look at, where again, I come back, where's the money coming from to fill all these holes in this team? We need 6-7 players, as we're saying. But he can't. He's not going to do it all. He's not going to do it in one window. He's not going to do it in one window. Is it? We need a striker. We can't score goals. We need midfielders because we can't play possession-based football. Surgery. We need everything. So, what's more important to this team? And it's probably the goals because we struggled to score goals all season. So, what's he going to do? I say we're not going to let him go for nothing. We're not going to sell him. We're not going to sell him.
We can't let him go for nothing because he's out of contract. So
has he not signed a new deal yet? Has he not actually signed a new deal?
This
No,
club
he's about to sign a deal. It's just whether he becomes number one and then manager. That's why the reports have come out, whether they see him as a priority. I mean, come to you, James. You know, it is getting a bit toxic, and this is what you don't need as a manager. So you take control of the situation, James. So you're Ten Hag now. What do you do?
I try and move on David De Gea and look for a new keeper if the funds are there, and that's what I would do. Really, it's just very tough. I think it could get very toxic very quickly, couldn't it? David De Gea has had a really tough season. And he's come under a lot of scrutiny. And a super chat before said, you know, it's happened in the big games, and it really has. Against Liverpool, like sinking to his knees, being beaten at the near post, mistakes yesterday. I think the telling thing yesterday was, I think the guys mentioned it as well. You look at City's second keeper, and I'm not one for stats usually, but he had a pass completion rate of 92%. 92%, and that's their second option, right? So that is key to the way they want to play. So they obviously make sure that they have that in abundance. And another super chat before mentioned the whole Joe Hart, Claudio, like the Joe Hart thing, and then he replaced him. You've also got to remember that he replaced him with Claudio Bravo, who he then replaced the next season. So Claudio Bravo was obviously Pep knew him, he wanted him, and he didn't work at Manchester City. So people have just got to remember that not every transfer works. We've had quite a good strike rate under Ten Hag so far. We are due a flop at some point. So you can't just assume that whoever we pick out will be a success, even if it is someone you like a Magnon or a Costa or whoever. There's no guarantee. Yeah. Well, there's no guarantee, right? Because you've got to look at the Premier League and look at Manchester United, and whether people realise it or not, playing in front of 70,000 demanding, screaming fans at Old Trafford every week is really tough. And there has been people here that have faltered under the pressure. Angel Di Maria, I say it all the time, but he was man of the match in the Champions League final the game before he came to us. Came here and couldn't hit a barn door, mate. Juan Varane was one of the best players in the world before he came to us. Came to us, couldn't do anything. There are players that come here and falter, and we are due a failure in the market. And I come back to Double A's point. Where's the money? Where is the money? Because people just assume that we're going to make all these signings and we're going to have all this money available. We owe £300 million on transfers, on future, on past transfers that we still owe. The club's like still £500 million in debt. The sale hasn't gone through yet. Glazer was at the final at Wembley. Why are we all so optimistic that this is going to happen? Why are we all so sure? I said at the time, right, when it was announced on the Manchester United website, people got very giddy. And it said basically the Glazers were looking to either raise investment or a full sale. That's what it said. Now, all the reports came out, just said full sale this, and everyone believed that because there's such thing as confirmation bias. And people believe what they want to believe. It's a fact. It's human nature. So everyone was like, yeah, they're selling. Basically, the Glazers have realised that there is no way that they can take the club forward. They've got $100 million left to pay on a debt that needs to be paid back next year. They had no money for transfers. There was 18 million cash in the bank, so they couldn't take the club forward. And in an ideal world for them, they raised funds by selling half the club or whatever in shares in £2-3 billion. Now, people were saying, obviously, they won't be able to do that because if you're going to put £2 or £3 billion in, then you're going to want control of the football club and you're going to want certain shares. But at the end of the day, if there is any way that they can keep hold of Manchester United, continue making money, continue milking it, and bring them back to the top or be more successful, then that is what they are going to try to do. Make no qualms about that. That is what they will try to do. So all this optimism that we're going to spend another 300 million, it's like as I heard Double A before mention, like, oh, I'm not sure about Rabiot. I'll tell you what, mate, if Rabiot's on a free, and I know we shouldn't be talking about value for money in the market, but you've got to be realistic sometimes. Like, obviously, it didn't work in January. I know you don't want to hear it, Saeed, but what's your other option? Do you want another season of McTominay and Fred? You need to realise where we are. You need realism, mate. People do this all the time, right? No.
If the money is used on Mason Mount, we're hearing 60-70 million. So
I agree with.
That's 67. So again, if there's money there and you have to use it wisely, then wisely use it on players we actually need and could be useful.
But then you wouldn't take another squad player who's better than all our other squad players at the moment. Like people have this idea. No, people have this idea, right? Because they talk about standards at Manchester United, right? And they talk about, Manchester United are best in class. They do this. I get it, right? Hold Manchester United to a high standard. That's what we grew up with. You've also got the side where Manchester United haven't won a major title. They haven't won a Premier League since 2013. So people need to, do you go and adjust your standards, or do you still want the best? Because you've got to realise we've not been there in ages. So people accuse our fans of being arrogant, and we think we're still that club. We're that club in name. We're not that club on the pitch, mate.
I totally agree. That
We're not.
point you made, I totally agree. 100%.
I'm not saying about Rabiot. I'm not saying the facts. What I'm saying is we should be looking at better than Rabiot. But I agree that if he is coming, if we can get him on a free, he's coming 100%.
Yeah,
because that's what this ownership does.
Yeah, here's the thing.
We find the cheap shite.
Yeah, it needs to be Rabiot. The thing is with Rabiot, it needs to be Rabiot and
another.
That's my thing is like I've said this for the longest. We need an upgrade on Eriksen. We need a backup to Casemiro. There are two spots that need to be filled. And then saying Rabiot is the fifth behind that quartet, I'm cool with that. It's just that I don't want it to be Rabiot and nobody else, or just a Mount and nobody else. Not only do we need quality, we need quantity as well. Like I said, we need an upgrade on Eriksen. That is clear. I like Eriksen, but we need an upgrade on Eriksen because we know what he can do because we've seen it. And we need a backup to Casemiro. 100%.
Next season, we'll be talking about upgrade to Rabiot. That's what I give you.
No. I hear you, Saeed. So that's why I said if Rabiot was here in the ideal world, I'm saying he's fifth. He's fifth choice. Yeah. He's behind the quartet I mentioned.
But this idea that we're saying upgrade on this upgrade, we need an upgrade that just stays there and we don't have to worry about it for the next 3 or 4 years. And that is Caicedo. Rabiot, Eriksen, these are all players that you upgrade in about 1 or 2 years because we signed him at the wrong time.
No, Rabiot's calm because we should barely see him. We will if he's your fifth choice midfielder, which like I said in the ideal world he is, we see him as often as we see McTominay this season, which is barely. Yeah. How many times have we seen McTominay? We've barely mentioned him like that. He'll get on the pitch for the last 10, 15 minutes in certain games. When's the last time he started 2 games back-to-back for us? So that's the point I'm saying with Rabiot. He shouldn't be a conversation. You bring him on a free and there's 4 players in front of him. That's what
you said back up for Casemiro, Flawless. I'm not sure Casemiro can play a 6 on his own. I think there's very, very few people in the world that can play a 6 on their own in history. I think you look at maybe Kante, maybe Rodri, maybe Prime Busquets, maybe Prime Makelele. Yeah, but there's very, very few. So if you're asking Casemiro to do that job, I don't think he can. I think he's a fantastic footballer, but you need someone to come in alongside him, whether it is a Caicedo or whether it is a Rice or someone like, or a Frankie de Jong. I don't think you can just replace Eriksen and play 2 8s. I really don't.
It's not a question of 2 ways. That's why when I said back up to Casemiro and upgrade on Eriksen, make sure the upgrade on Eriksen can also play alongside Casemiro. Right. And then have the backup to Casemiro also be able to play next to Eriksen or the upgrade on Eriksen. Have them all. Don't just have someone who's a sole 6 or a sole 8. Have people who are all interchangeable. That's why I said
like Caicedo.
It needs to be Caicedo. It needs to be Caicedo and it needs to be Caicedo, and that's the point.
Yes.
It has to be further than just Caicedo.
Before you go in,
go on, bro.
I'm just gonna get your super chats in. David Smith says, "Hey, tiki-taka football is not boring. This is so premature. Pep didn't have his players first season, but you saw the patterns in play. We are being linked with players like Mount because that's what he wants." And there's a couple here. One more from AJ says, "Why do we overpay so much? Fabrizio's report Liverpool are getting McAllister for less than 60 million, yet we're paying silly money for Mount." Well, good recruitment, isn't it? Good recruitment,
and also well, minus Anthony.
It's good people in the jobs, like who can do the job properly, who can negotiate deals. We can't do that. We're terrible at it.
Yeah, but James mentioned it. We've actually had a good minus Anthony. I don't think we've overpaid for anybody this past summer.
I think it's not that we've overpaid. I think we could have got them cheaper. I think we could have got
I think cheaper. I think everybody's been valued for take Anthony out of it. I agree. Anthony, we overpaid for him. Everybody else has been more than value for money that we signed this past summer.
I think Martinez only went up because Arsenal wanted him. So that's just give and go. You have to pay a little more.
Has Martinez not been our best player?
Yeah, he's been excellent. I'm not.
He's been paid too much for Eriksen, though.
He's been valued.
No, Eriksen. By the way, I don't hate Eriksen. By the way,
I'm joking.
Martinez has been valued for money. Last year was 12 million. Eriksen was free. Casemiro, everybody minus Anthony to me has been much more than what we paid for in terms of value. I have no complaints.
The only problem I have is say we're trying to get to the next level now, push the top to even further. When people are saying, it's an upgrade on Eriksen and McTominay, that screams mediocre to me. It needs to be people pushing for the first team. Like they say, we need someone to be pushing Casemiro, and there's a number 8 spot there to be taken. And I think, you know, we need to be looking for that player that fits right in, like a Rice, like a Caicedo, or just people who can improve us coming in, not just looking like, yeah, well, I'll fill a hole because we need a squad. It's not the right way to do it.
Don't get it mistaken, Double A. When I say I'm talking a major upgrade on Eriksen, someone who's twice the player he is. When I say major upgrade, I'm talking first team quality. When I say a major upgrade, like the backup to Casemiro should be pushing Casemiro and whoever's playing next to him, whether that's Eriksen, whether that's the upgrade. If you're really trying to go there. And you don't have to spend necessarily massive amounts on these. But to people saying Martinez has been absolutely incredible this season. How did he overtake?
Because how much was he for? He should have been around 35, 40 million.
That's forget what he should have been. Has his impact for Manchester United been more than 50, 60 million this season?
Yes. No, but that's not the question, though. I think the question
that's value for money, though, Saeed.
Yeah. I get what you mean.
In hindsight, it's value for money. But at the time, with better negotiators,
but 70 million for a defender from Celtic is too much money at the time. But no one looks back at Van Dijk as being overpaid. So at the time is one thing, but actually you've got to look back with hindsight and perspective. Martinez has been a fantastic signing.
Martinez has been our best player in a successful
better negotiators.
No.
Would have got in the Glazers' pocket as dividends. It's pointless.
Well, you say that,
there's no way we'd have bought another player. Don't bring that nonsense. No chance.
Of course, why not?
Because we sold Ronaldo for 80 million and signed Antonio Valencia, Gabriel Overton, and Michael Owen for 29. Come on, man. You know this club. You know the owner's better than that. Come on.
And they weren't good signings. What are you on about?
Gabriel Overton, he's on the back of my shirt, mate. Class.
Let's talk about this.
The people in the chat, I'm just saying it, like, because I've seen obviously a couple of comments you put up. Martinez has definitely been value for money. What are we talking about?
100%.
Martinez has been definitely. Casemiro, someone said about the age thing. Yeah, in 3-4 years. Yes, Casemiro has delivered. We've had a successful season, and Casemiro has been a part of that. Do we win the Carabao Cup and finish third without Casemiro? No. So therefore, he's been value for money. So what are we doing here? We had one Van Persie for one season, which was like 30 M's.
Value for money. Value for money.
I take it.
What are we doing? Yeah, of course.
I'll take it right now, mate. Ahead of Weghorst.
Like when James was mentioning all them treble winners who was at Wembley that I didn't know, I'm like, why they not got their shin pads and shorts on? What we doing? I didn't know Andy Cole and Yap Stammer.
They went past
get him on the pitch. Get on the pitch. Like, what we doing? Yeah, go on. Sorry, fam.
Yeah, no. Listen, you're right, man. I fully hear what you're saying. Let's talk about this situation here because it come out again and said Man United interested in left winger. It's surprising, but Ten Hag wants more depth in that area of the pitch. Do you believe we need depth? Because we've got Garnacho, Rashford, and I think that will play on the left, right? Sancho. Sancho. So you got 3 there. 3 on the left. I don't know why I forgot. Maybe
you know why you forgot him. Don't do that, Saeed.
You know
what? You're right to forget him. I'm saying that I'm a fan, but you're right to forget him. Let's not do that. We know.
Let's not do that. Exactly. It's true.
We know what you meant.
Man, don't perform, man. How could I? You know what I mean? If you perform, I'll know your name. I'll know your back of your name. I know what you do. I know what you know what I mean. I know everything about you. But when you don't perform, bro. Listen, Sancho wasn't the only one yesterday that played badly. Rashford was poor as well, but people are saying Neymar. Listen, man, Neymar's injury record, man. I keep telling you, man, we don't need that player here, man. He's not going to be available. You know what I mean? Neymar 3-4 years ago, yeah. But his injury record,
on that. If it's a loan deal, I'm taking it. If it's a loan deal, 110%. You know why? I'm just running the risk. I'm a risk taker. I hear everything. I hear all the cons to the idea, injury record, availability, would he settle? All of that. I hear it all, and no one is wrong to think that. However, if you get him playing and he's playing well, you have one of the best players on the planet. That's why I run the risk.
It'll be beautiful chaos. Beautiful chaos.
Hey, let's win it. I'm saying, hey, I tell you this, he's better than Mason Mount.
It's not difficult, that is it? It's not difficult, that is it?
On the left wing, the thing, Saeed, because I brought it up on a space a while ago when they were asking about transfers for next season. And I said, we might look at a wide player, and people were like, no, we got loads of depth there. We got Garnacho, Pellistri, Sancho, Rashford, Martial can play out there. And you've got Anthony, you've got loads of stuff. And I'm like, well, actually, look at how many of them have not necessarily flopped, but just not performing up to the standard that is required at the moment. And actually what that statement screams at me, if it does turn out to be true, is that we may not be going into the market for a striker, or we may only be going in the market for one striker as a backup, and that Marcus Rashford would play through the middle. And I'm not saying I want that to happen at all, but Erik ten Hag is a huge Marcus Rashford fan. He's talked about it again and again. And Marcus Rashford will play on the left in any of our teams. Like, we just start him on the left-hand side. So if he's looking at that team and thinking, oh, that is one of the areas I need to strengthen, when we can all name 4 or 5 positions that we would probably strengthen instead, then I think that's a little bit strange. And I think that screams that maybe Ten Hag may play Rashford through the middle, which I wouldn't want to see, obviously. But
you can't play number 9.
Yeah, I don't get it. When I see that tweet, the wide positions is the only positions I have zero issue with this team.
Exactly. I'm fullback.
First team
fullback for me, yeah.
And the first teamers and the backup, like you said, you got Rashford Garnacho who play left, you got Anthony on the right hand side, you got Diallo who's also coming back, and you got Palestri who can also play on the right hand side. So I look at the wide areas and go, I see no, but obviously Ten Hag might be thinking different. Go on.
Or because of the new system that we're playing, he wants the wingers to have output. He's looked at Arsenal, Saka, Martinelli, goals. He's looked at Man City, goals. You see, you're looking at, and just in modern day wingers now in the Premier League, Liverpool, goals.
You got the perfect output winger with Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, but I think he wants more. But the thing is, he's the most reliable one. Everyone else, how many goals did Anthony got? 7 goals?
Yeah, he didn't get enough.
Sancho?
Yeah. Forget Sancho.
You know what I mean? So the output is what's missing, and he's thinking, hold on a minute. If the striker, if I buy Hodgland and he's not performing his first season, I know then I have output in my wingers. Sancho isn't getting that. Anthony isn't getting that. Only one is getting that, and that's Rashford. So
Ten Hag, my guy, this I don't understand. This is up there with Mason Mount. I don't get it. If this is true.
I worry about our wingers. I think they don't cross the ball. Rashford especially very greedy, wants to score every time. I don't think they've been that great. Anthony needs to improve a lot. He has improved more. Yeah. I would take. I mean, Palestri's looked good every time he's come on. He looks very direct. That's a worrying thing. Players. It goes back. Managers have done it all the time. Players play shy and then still continue to play regardless. And these young players that come in and do well don't get opportunities. I'm hoping Ahmad.
Yeah, I was going to say no one mentioned Ahmad when we were listing players.
Diallo. Did you mention Ahmad?
I mentioned Diallo. Yeah.
People shouting for Matoma to come in. Yeah, he's not looked the same since Wan-Bissaka dealt with him at all. So he looks like he's like a Lingard, mate. He's just like a purple patch player. I don't think he's it either. To be fair,
you would argue. So as well. Yeah,
good. I don't think he's it.
Ahmad for me is a player who I think is quality, but I can never see him being a first teamer in terms of the right hand side. I think Anthony's got that locked in. He's his main guy. He's bought him for 90 million. He's going to play him whether we want him or we don't want him. He's going to play him. He's going to persist with that because that's his player that he's brought from my ex for 90 million.
Yeah. But Saeed competition though, which is good.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying to you. 100%
it's good because that's why I like the idea of Diallo. And he can play.
I feel like he wants to play, well.
So
I feel like Ahmad wants to play.
Yeah, of course he does, but it's good to have competition. Who better to push Anthony than a Diallo? And who better for Diallo to be able to compete with than Anthony? We want competitions for places. When we look at Manchester City's team, look at the players that don't play week in, week out.
Yeah.
Look at their bench. Look at players that don't make it. Like somebody of quality, not even somebody, a number of players of quality aren't playing on any given day. So it's kind of like we should have our bench should be the point where it's like, it's selection headaches when we're like, right, we don't even know who's going to play over that side. Is it going to be Anthony? Is it going to be Diallo? I do like Diallo, and Anthony this season I think has been decent, but we do need to see more from him. He needs to play more as well. Output. He didn't play enough. He only played like 25 league matches. Not enough.
That's seriously?
Yeah, something like that. Right. Yeah, check it. It was something like that because he got a few like niggling injuries. Obviously, he had the World Cup flu before the World Cup, and then like within the season, it was niggling. Check how many games he played in the Premier League.
Injuries, and he missed a couple.
Yeah, you're right. 25 appearances, 4 goals, 2 assists.
Not enough. That's my biggest issue with him.
Remember, he didn't come till the end of August as well, so that does have to play.
All right, so he missed the first 2 games. So let's say 20. Let's say he plays them 2.
Yeah, a few more.
27, 28 games is not enough. If you're going to go compete, like that's not enough.
I agree. No, I agree.
David G says Palestra got mugged off his agent, wanted him to go out on loan in Jan, so we started giving him game time. As soon as January closed, he was warming bench. Yeah, I think he's got quality. The fact that he wasn't even played yesterday, I think, is a bit of a madness. To put on Weghorst instead of Palestri, for me, I thought it was mad for me from Ten Hag, because I feel like he would have offered you a bit more on that right side instead of sticking Bruno back on the right to then accommodate what you've got up front. Like, nah, for me, you know what I mean, he should get more game time, but I don't know.
It might sound daft, right? But if you're going to make a sub to try and like go and attack and hold the ball up and like try and like use an aerial threat, it sounds daft, but you put Scott on up there.
I would have done that better than Weghorst.
You put Scott up there as an attacking threat and an aerial threat. Of course you would. Like, he nearly scored at the end. He scored 2 goals for Scotland more recently than Weghorst has scored. He's got a better shot on him, a miles better shot from outside the box than Weghorst has. I think he's far more of a threat in that situation. If you want to try and change a game and go a bit gung-ho, just put him far up the pitch. Play him as a 10 or as a 9. It doesn't matter. But Weghorst, unfortunately, like, obviously hands were tied, ownership, whatever. But unfortunately, you're talking about value for money. We got him on a free, or we paid 2 million to Burnley or whatever, or Besiktas to end the loan early. That's probably the one that's not been value for money.
Yeah.
Just
question there, big up to Grace.
The fact that you were debating there whether we should play the sub should be Weghorst or Palestri lets you know where we are. That's an actual debate. Weghorst or Palestri to change a FA Cup final against Manchester City. Puts things into perspective.
Well, my gran offers more up front than Weghorst, and she's been dead 23 years.
She's a baller though, isn't she?
She's been dead 23 years. Still
yeah, but she was a baller in a day.
Yeah, she was sick, mate. She was levels.
Oh my days,
levels.
It's mad. Grace asked a good question here. Big up to Grace. Said, would you take Rashford down the middle next season with Højlund as backup if it meant 2 or 3 quality midfielders and a new goalkeeper?
No, because Rashford's better from the left. We all know this. He's better from the left than he is a striker, even though he's impressed me when he's played striker this season at points. He's a left winger. Why are we moving him?
But you see when he comes up against big like City yesterday, he can't do nothing. No, why would you?
Can't do nothing, yeah.
You can't do nothing, man.
Goal is not great. What I mean? His dribbling skills are not great as well. I'm not gonna lie to you. Even Rashford's dribbling skills, I think he's just better when he's running in behind. You've got that pace in behind, and then he just looks up, boom, it's a goal. Like, he's direct. He's not gonna do the even Palestri, I think, is arguably a better dribbler than Marcus Rashford. 1v1, like dribbling, because I feel like he gets on a byline, boom. Whereas I think Rashford, now his game was evolved to be he runs off the left channel, drifts into the striker role, and then goes in and scores goals. That's his game now. He doesn't beat you on the side. He might go. I think he did it a couple of weeks ago against Caicedo, where pure pace, he'll beat you. But if you've got competent defenders, he can't beat you. I think he hasn't got that skill element from Rashford. So,
how many great team goals has he scored, Saeed? Really? And have any been against big teams? Like, all the goals he scored against big teams have been like rockets or individual bits of brilliance. There's been very few good team goals. I remember a couple at home where he ran like the length of the pitch, but like a couple of passes down the line and then cut in. But there's not been many at all. Like, he's not a pass and move player. He's not your Sancho type player or your Greenwood type player back in the day. Like, he's just not. That's not what he offers. He offers moments and game-changing pace, basically. That's what he offers. And you've got to kind of base your attack around that. And I think the problem with what people expect of Marcus Rashford, you're expecting him to do something that's not in his capability. It's like when you play Anthony on the right and then you expect him to put a cross in and beat his man and put a cross in with his right foot. It's like, yeah, we paid 100 million for him, but you're expecting him to do something that's not in his locker. Like, adjust your expectations. Like, he's going to cut back every single time, 10 times out of 10, because he doesn't have a right foot. Marcus Rashford doesn't have that ability, I don't think anyway, to play nice little quick, intricate pass and move football. Like, if you want to play that, you've got your Jadon Sanchos, you've got your Antonys, and you bring in a player that can play like that. You bring in a Harry Kane and you play that nice little football around the edge of the box and stuff. But Rashford isn't that. Rashford is a hang on the shoulder of the last defender, try and catch them out, play the ball over the top, and he drops a shoulder and he's gone, mate, and you don't catch him. And one-on-one, he's good.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's perfect analogy of Rashford. Elliot Taylor says, I would rush Rashford in. Pace will be gone soon. For me, I wouldn't. I think for me, it depends on, like I said to you, what the manager wants. I don't think the manager will be looking to cash in on Rashford anytime soon because he's the main source of his goals. Someone who you could cash in on is Jadon Sancho. That for me, the rumors of that, and if it's true or not, would mean that I would say one person would go, and that would be Jadon Sancho. You know what I mean? Because maybe he's had enough. Maybe he's kind of said, you know what? You're not giving me goals. I've given you time. I've given you the patience. Maybe that's the time now to kind of move Sancho on. I don't know.
How much we get for Sancho then? How much?
I reckon you could get about maybe 50 million, 50, 60 million.
I think
60 is a push.
I think 40,
I think 45, 50 is decent money.
Yeah. That's
wild,
man. That's very good money. 45, 50 million for Sancho.
Because of how he's performed. The thing is, he looks better on the right. Like he played against Chelsea.
He didn't want to play him though. And he had to play him up front at one point.
I know that. But this is the problem that we've got because he's paid 90 million for a player that he loves in Anthony. But Sancho looks better on the right. On the left, I think he's dead food. I don't think he offers anything.
I don't even think he's good. He's a player who has to play central.
He looks like
he's got to play as a 10 or a false 9.
But do you have
today's game, him playing out?
Like, you've seen Gundogan. You've seen.
Don't get mistaken. I hate. Yeah. I get what you're saying, and that's a valid argument, and that is definitely a valid point in which you're making. I'm just saying, if you're going to get anything from Sancho, to me, you have to play him through the middle. Anything. He cannot play out wide in today's game. It's athletes out there. When you look at all the successful players who now play out wide in the Premier League, they're all athletes. They're all pace and power. The impact they have, whether it's a Rashford, whether it's a Garnacho, whether you look at Matoma, who we mentioned, all pace, all power. That's just not. James mentioned it about Rashford, things not being in his game. That's not Sancho's game. Not Sancho's game. You was there against Chelsea. It was night and day from when Sancho was on the pitch to then when Rashford got on against Chelsea. And then when Garnacho got on, you see the instant impact and the instant difference.
Garnacho shows him up, man.
For me, because Garnacho's he's quick, he's direct.
He's
suited to what's going on. Sancho,
I was in the service station, yeah. I was in the service station, yeah. And obviously City fans were all there, yeah. And they were all talking about Garnacho. They were like, yo, when he came on the pitch, we were nervous.
He changed the derby. Like the game we won 2-1, he changed that game completely, if you remember, at Old Trafford.
There you go.
Isn't it mad that we have we only have an 18-year-old that can get teams frightened? Like it's
that's where
we are. Do you know what I mean? One player only a youngster can come on, and you know, you put it down to his age because I've said Ben, he's fearless. He doesn't care, does he? He's got that presence and that belief in his own ability and what he can bring to a team. Why the rest of our forwards not like that? Believe in yourself.
Because they just don't. Again, Rashford will have him, and that's why I don't really get onto Rashford this season, because his goals and his assists and performances have actually contributed to Manchester United having a good season and winning a trophy. But it's him, it's Garnacho. That's pretty much it. Anthony, I've seen enough, but I need to see more next season. But then the rest is kind of like have done next to nothing. Sancho, Weghorst, Martial.
I think we all said at the start of this season, you know, this is a big season for Sancho, and it's 2 years now, and under
next season, because I think we're stressing on it too much, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I just don't see the basic principles of a player. You know, people can say I've kind of like put on, you know what, a striker would do him the world of good, but I can't lie to you. I just you said it there. You're either made for this league or you're not, and I just don't think Sancho's made for this league or what you need.
We can't go back to the unlocked Pogba days when we were talking about buying.
Well, there you go. Exactly.
Players, like I say, players like him, like just won't succeed. We've seen this. Like I keep saying, it's athletes. People don't like.
I think it's different to the Pogba thing, because I think Pogba had all the technique and skill and ability in the world. It just unfortunately didn't work out for him here, whether it was injuries or whatever it was, whether it was teammates. With Sancho, I think it's a huge mentality problem. I really, really do. And I think if you look at the signings that Erik ten Hag has made, you look at Malasia's mentality, you look at Martinez's mentality, you look at Antony's mentality, you look at Casemiro's mentality. Just across those four, Eriksen was a free, so we'll brush that aside, as was Dubravka, so we'll brush that aside. But if you look at all the signings in the summer, they're all mentally very, very strong. And I see Sancho as very mentally fragile. And I think in this game, you've got to be ruthless.
Bottle of 50-50s yesterday. For me, when you start...
Loads of people where it wasn't just him, but not good enough. People jerking tackles in a Manchester United shirt in a derby when you're trying to stop them doing the treble. It's unforgivable, mate. It's fucking unforgivable, honestly. I can't like, when I know Double A brought it up before, and he said, it's been clipped, and it has. I remember what happened afterwards. But Rashford not jumping for that ball is a joke. I don't care if he wins it back afterwards. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke, mate. And I had an argument ages ago with fans that were like, oh, he's good in the air. His aerial duel rates this. I'm like, that's not taking into account the amount of times he doesn't jump because it doesn't get listed as a duel in your stats. I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm at Old Trafford week in, week out. There is at least 5 times throughout the game where he could jump for something and he doesn't. He doesn't challenge for it. And I love Marcus Rashford, but that's unforgivable, mate.
Or even pressing, he'll half-high press, and then next thing you know, like there was 1 minute yesterday, he was pressing, and then he went off the pitch, and then they played. So I was like, "What are you doing?" You realize the game's still on, and then he kind of stumbled there. But listen, we're gonna wrap it up anyway here. Jerome T. Green says, "With all this stuff, what's all this stuff about De Gea? The fact is, we have not scored nearly enough goals this season. Way too many 1-0 matches. Had one shot yesterday. Yeah, it's crazy, man. But we had more."
Two things can be true. Like, the attack wasn't good enough yesterday, but De Gea was also awful yesterday. Like, what is this shift in the blame? The attack wasn't good. De Gea wasn't good. And the midfield wasn't good. And overall, we weren't good. So everybody's to blame.
Yep, absolutely. But listen, people, I think that's been good therapy for everyone. There's 1.3K in here. How many likes should we be on? What do you think, guys?
1.3K?
500, 600? About half at least. Like, maybe even more. Like 700, because
everyone should be like
we lost yesterday. Oh, everyone, that's a good shout.
So please like the video.
Put the likes, man. You lot clearly enjoying the content. What are we doing?
Yeah, and hopefully yeah. People are asking me about the owner situation. We'll have more clarity hopefully this week. But if not, listen, we'll see, man. We'll see. But people, let me keep watching. Don't leave. Listen, man.
We've all been in London. It's been long. If you
want more Unfiltered podcast, check out all the previous weeks. There you go. That's what you can do. Go check out all the previous weeks.
Absolutely, man. It's been a pleasure, people. Like I said, we was at the game yesterday, so we couldn't give you any content post-match. But we're here. We'll be back tomorrow as well for the Straight Jacket podcast with Nuruddin. That should be fun. But Double A, it's been a pleasure, man. Let them know where they can find you. Anything you got going on, big up to you, bro.
Yeah, no, big up to everyone in there. It's good to get it off your chest, so to speak. Big up Saeed, Flawless, and James. As always, the chat, doing what to do. Best chat on YouTube. I swear to you, I love it. Mr. Talking Kit, obviously running that channel over there. Go and find us. Talking Kit on YouTube. This is the best football kit content if you're into your football shirts. Also, I have started a little football channel as well. Double AFC. Did a little vlog. I was going to do a vlog yesterday, and I'll be honest, guys, it was an early start. It just didn't even transpire. But I will be doing some more football stuff and that. So yeah, but Talking Kit is the main one. You can find me on there. Full Kit Rankers and Desert Island Kits. Yeah, just go and check us out. It'll be sweet.
There you go. Big up to you, man. Big up to James, man. It's been a pleasure, man. Welcome back, man, and good to see you again as always, man.
No problem, man. Yeah, so James Dixon _PT on Twitter, James Dixon PT on Instagram. Do some football, fitness content, that kind of stuff. But yeah, big up Saeed, big up Double A, big up Flawless, and good to be back, lads.
Yeah, man. Big up to you, man. Sarcasm City, man. Big up to you, Flawless, my guy.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me, Saeed. Always good to be on. Big up to Double A. Good to see James as always. Shout out to the chat. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe to Saeed's channel as well. But yeah, follow me. And that's me, Flawless, on Twitter and Instagram. And then Sarcasm City TV on YouTube and on Twitch. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow the Twitch content across all like football, obviously covering Manchester United. Rest of the Big Six over on the Twitch. NBA as well, because the finals is going on. So we'll be doing a game 2 watch along tonight of the Nuggets Heat. So yeah, upcoming live stream schedules on both, so you know all the shows that are coming up anyway. So yeah, Sarcasm City TV on YouTube and Twitch.
Big up, man. Make sure you follow that. And yeah, like I said to you, I'll see you tomorrow for all the streams. Yeah, man. Enjoy the rest of your night, people. We're out.